Hello, 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 my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. As always, I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So, this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So, if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my love. So, this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of June 24th through 30th, 2024. All right. So, before we get into everything, all of the details, the cosmic weather forecast, how are you guys feeling post that full moon in Capricorn? Needless to say, I think it's safe to say, for most of us at least, that this has been a very, very, very intense moon. Whether you sort of got smacked in the face with reality, whether you're just feeling a lot of heavy, maybe very sobering emotions, maybe things are just a little too real for you, understand that this too shall pass. However, it's not even so much about sort of getting over this energy, right? Saturn always has so much to teach us. And the way that Saturn works is that typically Saturn gives us life lessons. So, Saturn is known for delays, obstacles, it's known for challenges, it's known for kind of slowing things down. And this is the theme that's going to be playing out over the next couple of months, beginning this week. All right. Things are going to slow down a bit so that you really have the opportunity to see things for what they are. And in seeing things for what they are, you can kind of gauge where you're at so that you can figure out where you would like to go. But more importantly, when things slow down, it means that there are certain things that we have to learn. There's certain things that we need to see. There's certain things that we need to experience. And this begins a week where we're kind of getting into this sort of energy, this energy of slowing down and learning and, examining our mistakes and examining things from the past. Everything having to do with Saturn is very sobering. It's very realistic. It's, again, like sort of a slap in the face with reality, right? But again, it's not for no reason. There's much for us to learn and to experience. And this full moon in Capricorn not probably, but this full moon in Capricorn was kind of a preview of sort of what you need to learn, what you need to see, or perhaps even what needs to go or what is coming back around. All right. And I will be doing the monthly astro forecast on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m., same time, same place. And I'll really go into the astrology of July, but we're going to get another full moon in Capricorn. So if you were feeling kind of unsteady with this one, there's another one coming in. That's not to scare you, it's just to get you prepared. All right. Before I get into all of the juicy details about the astrology for this week, housekeeping and announcements. So, if you're joining me live here in the Astro Room this evening, I sincerely appreciate you. Say hi on the way in. It's a nice little community that we've got going on here. Everyone is so polite and so cordial, and they like to say hello to everyone as they come in. I love that so much. Thanks, guys. So hopefully you got what you're looking for in this broadcast. And if that is the case, please hit the like button. Please and thank you. It lets the algorithm know that you like this, so it'll push out this content to other people who may like it as well. And if you are joining me on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. Hopefully you get everything that you are looking for with this broadcast. And if that is the case, definitely hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell if you have not already. All right. So let's say you're someone that's interested in getting your horoscope. You may not know where to look, or perhaps where you're looking just doesn't resonate. If you are interested, if this sounds interesting to you, if it sort of piques your interest, then you'll definitely want to consider subscribing to my text service where you will get your horoscope texted every Monday morning. Short, sweet, to the point, and it definitely resonates. So if that is something you are interested in, you will want to text the word Zodiac to the number 855-826-5544. That information will be in the description box below in case you missed it. All right. And as always, if you are someone who's brand spanking new to astrology and you have no idea what's going on, or maybe you're not so brand new to astrology, but you still don't have an idea of what's going on, because trust and believe, it's a lot. It can be overwhelming. Don't worry, I got you covered. So I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which is essentially the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying and understanding astrology, namely the 4 pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. So it's an 11-page PDF document that gives you a quick summary on all of these things so you can start committing them to memory. Because regardless of what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is indeed a science. And like any science, it requires a good deal of study. So to help you start studying, I created this cheat sheet. If you are interested, the link will be in the description box below. All you need to do is drop your email address and you will be good to go. All right. All right. And also, if you're looking for even more content or you're looking for a great way to support the channel, then consider becoming a roommate, which is joining our channel membership. So, as a roommate, you get exclusive roommate videos. Specifically, you will get monthly astro forecast by sign. So it goes a little deeper and it gets a little more specific with respect to sort of what I'm doing here on this side of the channel. In the Astro Room, you will know exactly what the coming months will look like for you. So you get exclusive member content, you get early access to videos, and you also get 20% off of all of my products and services for life. All right. So again, it's a great way to get more content and to support the channel. So if you're interested, the link will be in the description box below. And if you are on desktop, just hit that join button and you will be good to go. All right. Now, in terms of announcements, on Wednesday, like I said, I will be doing the July monthly astro forecast. That's Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place. Tap in so you can figure out, or at least start to understand exactly what the astrological weather is looking for in July. All right, so let's get into it. So, this full moon in Capricorn, right? I feel like it wasn't so much, I've heard so many different commentaries on how people are feeling post full moon. Like some people are like, I feel like I got hit by a truck. I feel awful. I feel, lethargic, low, like everyone's sort of feeling something right now, right? And it's heavy. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is a very heavy energy planet. It's what pulls you back. I think I mentioned in one of my lives last week about how, how you're like so super excited to go to recess. And then as soon as that bell rings and you're getting ready to run out the door, the teacher's like, wait, stop, walk, don't run. Like you got to slow down. That's sort of how Saturn is. It represents authority. It represents time. It represents delays. It represents karma. So we're all kind of feeling the effects of this. And so we got the full moon that just passed this month. And the next month, we have the exact same thing again in Capricorn. So wherever Capricorn is in your chart right now is definitely where you are feeling this energy and where the universe is putting an exclamation point in your life right now. Maybe there's a specific lesson that you need to learn. And the universe is like, I know it's going to take you a little while. So rather than just give you this one full moon, I'm going to give you 2 so that you can really see what's really good and really see what's going on and be able to remove those obstacles, right? It's one thing to be moving forward and you have no idea that you have obstacles, right? But it's another to actually see the obstacles for what they are. And that's great because you're able to remove them. You're able to jump over them. You're able to obliterate them. Whatever you need to do, you're able to eliminate them. And that's exactly what this full moon energy is doing for us. Now, the energy of this full moon, we're still going to be riding the wave of this for a while, not just because we had the full moon the other day and we're going to have one in July, but because Saturn is going to be going retrograde this week, beginning this week, and it's going to be lasting until November. Now, I know that sounds like a long time. It kind of is. However, Saturn does this every year, specifically every summer. Every summer, Saturn goes retrograde. All of the outer planets go retrograde, as a matter of fact. And so it gets us to slow down, but more so Saturn. When Saturn goes retrograde, it's like if you thought things were moving at a turtle's pace before, it's going to get even slower. And as frustrating as that can be, as aggravating as that can be, it's definitely for a good reason. Okay. Now, Saturn is going to be going retrograde in Pisces. And the whole premise of Saturn in Pisces generally is about making your dreams come true, making your dreams a reality, right? Saturn being in Pisces is an interesting kind of energy in and of itself because Pisces is pie in the sky. It's the complete opposite of realistic. Pisces is very fantastical. It's imaginary. It's otherworldly. Whereas Saturn is very earthly, very practical, very real, very in your face, very down to earth. When you put Saturn in a sign like Pisces, it's like it's this neutralization that's really interesting because we're able to imagine, right? We're able to turn our dreams into reality, but we're kind of our dreams get a little limited. They get a little stifled, right? They get a little more realistic, which is great, right? Because there's nothing worse than having a pie in the sky dream or a pie in the sky reality. I'm sorry, visualization or fantasy. And you have no idea how to turn it into reality, right? It remains a pipe dream. It remains just something that stays in your head forever. Saturn allows us to take these dreams, take this otherworldly energy and crystallize it, make it manifest, right? So to do that, Saturn has to give us a couple of obstacles, has to give us some challenges, has to make that dream not so dreamy, make it not so imaginary, show you the real side of the things that you actually want. And for some of us, this energy may be bringing up fear. Saturn has a lot to do with fear and limitations and boundaries, right? So if these are some of the things that you're facing right now, we're all facing this. We're all in this together. And the whole point is to get you to really understand what it is that you want, number one. And number two, get you to commit to your dreams, right? Because again, you could have this pie in the sky kind of vision, right? This thing that's just living in your head and it's amorphous, right? But then Saturn is like, all right, this is what's required for this. Simplest, well, maybe not a simple example, but an example that we can all understand and appreciate. You want to be a surgeon, right? This is a dream you've had since you were a child. You watch all of the medical shows, you watch, documentaries about surgeons. Like, this is your thing, this is your dream, right? You literally cannot just wake up, go to the hospital and say, hey, I'm going to be a surgeon today, right? No, it requires a lot of schooling. It requires a lot of experience. It requires a lot of practice even, right? There's a lot that goes into fulfilling that dream. And Saturn in Pisces is showing us that. And now that Saturn is retrograde, or at least the fact that Saturn is going retrograde this week, means that we're going to get a dose of reality, right? And we're going to have the ability to be intentional about the things that we have to do to fulfill our dreams. That's basically what this transit is in a nutshell. Okay. But it's going to feel heavy. It's going to feel sobering. It may even feel a little depressing. I don't know about you, but yesterday was a tough day and I couldn't understand why. I wasn't particularly triggered about anything, but it was one of those Sundays where I feel like not feel like I spent the whole day in bed in my pajamas and I just felt this sadness, this kind of, oh man, like thinking about what I want, maybe feeling a little doubt as to whether it will come to pass, thinking about things that I feel like are just out of my reach or feeling just tired or whatever. There's times for that. If anything, right? I feel like when we have those kind of moments, it gets you to sometimes we're always going, 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 going. Sometimes you need that little bit of heavy energy to sit the fuck down, right? To sit down, to feel what you're feeling. And so if you're feeling that way, trust and believe you're not alone. and it definitely serves a greater purpose. All right. So, as far as the astrology for the rest of the week, it's kind of a light week. There isn't that much going on this week. But again, we're still off the heels of that full moon in Capricorn. Plus, we've got Saturn retrograde, so we've got enough heavy energy. We don't need all of a whole bunch of other cosmic happenings to sort of weigh us down. But in any event, it's going to be kind of a light week. And so, speaking of the week, let's get into it and see exactly what we've got going on. So, in terms of the highlights, first we have what I like to call summertime sadness. And this is Saturn going retrograde. So, it's slowing things down, it's getting serious and sober, and it's also going within. All right. Things that may evoke feelings of fear, of anxiety, of doubt, of insecurity. Right. However, these are the things that you need to face. Saturn is very great at giving you rewards when you work hard. So if you are willing to face some of these fears, if you're willing to face and tackle some of these obstacles, Saturn will most definitely give you a beautiful reward. It's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? So we've got that. Then we have what I like to call the long haul, and this is Mercury trine Saturn. So this particular transit fosters long-term planning, common sense, and being serious and practical. All right. Saturn is definitely a major player this week and between June and July. So get comfortable with that Saturn energy signature. All right. And then finally, we have what I like to call live wire, and this is Mercury sextile Uranus. So this will bring exciting news, things out of the ordinary, kind of veering away from your regular routine, and flashes of insight and intuition. All right. So we've got kind of a mixed bag in terms of what we got going on this week, but either way, things are looking fairly good this week. Nothing that we definitely can't handle. All right. So let's take a look at the week and see exactly what we've got. So the first thing we've got going on happens on Wednesday, and this is Mercury trine Saturn. And then we have the moon moving into Pisces. Thereafter, on Friday, we've got Mercury square Chiron and the moon moving into Aries. On Saturday, we've got Saturn retrograde. We've got Mercury sextile Uranus and Venus sextile Mars. And then we close out the week on Sunday with the moon in Taurus. All right, so without further ado, let's jump into it. I'm sorry. Someone said, "Good Lord, I'm so done with Saturn." I know the feeling, right? But Saturn's going to be here for a little longer, okay? It's going to be lingering a little bit more. And again, it's not for no reason, even though it may feel like it is. All right. So we start off the week on Wednesday. Speaking of Saturn, we've got Mercury trine to Saturn, and we've got the moon in Pisces. So you will see Mercury at the left-hand portion of the chart. Mercury is at 19 degrees of Cancer. And then at the right-hand portion of the chart, we've got Saturn at 19 degrees of Pisces. And then the moon is also going to be in Pisces. So I'm going to forewarn you that this is also going to be a very emotional time, especially because we've got Mercury in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces, and the moon in Pisces. This is all water energy. So not only are you perhaps experiencing delays or you're getting a dose of reality, it's really affecting your mood, number one, and how you just feel generally. Like you're extra sensitive about this. And it's so funny because I prepare for these things every week, right? I'm very much on top of what the astrology is, but for some reason, I always forget that it affects me too. So I'll be extremely moody or I will just be really sensitive and I'm like, oh my gosh, something is wrong with me. I don't get it. And then I'm like, wait a minute, it is the astrology. The astrology is making us all feel kind of crabby. It's making us all feel very sensitive, right? However, the good thing about Mercury trine Saturn is that it gives you this dose of common sense. So amidst all of this emotion, right? And Saturn again can bring up fears. I had an interesting conversation with a friend the other day about sort of the fear of succeeding and what that means and the responsibility that comes with that. And a lot of people sometimes overlook that. We have dreams, we have goals, we have things that we want to manifest. But, sometimes it's a little scary to think, what if this actually happens? What if I actually get this? Like, can I hold on to it? Am I going to fuck it up? Like, fear of succeeding is really a thing. And so for some, this may be what you're feeling right now, even if you're not necessarily conscious of it. But thankfully, Mercury trine Saturn, it gets you to sort of see things realistically. It kind of cuts through a lot of this emotion, a lot of the sensitivity, and it's like, okay, I'm feeling this way because of this. Or I'm triggered because of this. Like, you're able to sort of rationalize how you're feeling right now, which is really a great thing. It's also great for long-term planning because you kind of have this dose of common sense, right? You also have this element of practicality that this transit gives you. It's great for making plans, long-term plans at that. So, if we're talking about Saturn in Pisces and also with the moon in Pisces, this is big picture. This is your dream, this is your goal. Make actual plans for that. And I know that sounds overly simplistic, but I'm sure you understand, like what I just said before, about how sometimes you have this fear of succeeding. And so rather than really make concrete plans, really committing to this dream, you keep it in your head. It's like you're constantly chasing the carrot, never thinking about what the carrot will actually taste like when you get it. So do not be afraid this week to make concrete plans and to commit to these things. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the insecurity and still push forward. Commit to it. Whether that's a small step or a large step. Maybe you really want to save up for a big ticket item, but in your mind, you're like, oh, I can't do that, or I'm not good with money, or whatever the fear or doubt that's coming up that's giving you this sort of negative narrative. Start saving. Even if it's $2, it doesn't matter. Take those action steps, those practical action steps that will actually bring your dream to reality. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe commitment is a scary thing in and of itself, whether we're talking about relationships or otherwise. Maybe it's a job that you need to commit to. Maybe it's a certain path or vocation in life. Maybe it's a certain friendship. Whatever it is, Mercury trine Saturn allows you to think practically and rationally so that you can commit to this thing in a way that not only makes sense, but will also bring about the desired result. Now, you're going to have to navigate some murky emotions, right? We got the moon in Pisces on Wednesday too. So it's like this energy of, I'm feeling a lot. I'm overstimulated. Almost to the point where you feel like your emotions are bigger than you. Have you ever felt that way when it's like you're feeling so much, or maybe this fear just feels like it's 10 feet tall? Or this anxiety feels like it's all over you, right? Like Moon in Pisces is really good for that kind of thing. So you have to work past that, right? It's almost like, when you're a kid and maybe you're afraid of the dark and, you're in your room, it's nighttime, the lights are turned off, and maybe you have a chair in your room and it's got these clothes on it. And the way that the shadows are hitting this chair, it looks like a monster. It looks like something scary. And you're like scared shitless, right? You're shivering in your bed. You're like, oh my God, there's a monster in my room. And maybe you call for your parent, maybe you call for a sibling, whoever, and they come in and they turn on the light. And you see that all along, this thing that you were scared of is just a pile of clothes on the chair. This particular transit, Mercury trine Saturn, it's like turning on the light and seeing things for what they are. That way you can sort of dispel some of this sensitivity. You can dispel this sea of emotions that you may be in. So I urge you to really use your head, be a little logical right now, because your fear may be overwhelming you, your doubt may be overwhelming you, your emotions may be overwhelming you, or maybe even it's the people around you. Whenever we have Pisces energy, we become very sensitive to the emotions of other people. And sometimes we start taking on other people's emotions, other people's fears, other people's anxiety, especially if they don't know how to shut the fuck up around you, right? If they're constantly projecting their fear, projecting their issues on you, all of a sudden it becomes yours and you're afraid and you're anxious and you don't know why. Use your brain. Separate what's yours and what's not yours. Understand what practical, common sense steps you can take to move forward and make your dreams a reality. It'll help you a ton at this time. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, then on Friday, we've got Mercury square Chiron and we've got the moon in Aries. So you will see on the left-hand portion of the chart, Mercury will be at 23 degrees of Cancer. And then Chiron at the right side of the chart is at 23 degrees of Aries. And you also see the moon right over there in the right-hand portion of the chart at 4 degrees of Aries as well. All right, so now we're switching gears a little bit. Whenever we talk about, well, maybe we're not really switching gears because Saturn in Pisces is bringing up fears, insecurities, all of that stuff. And Chiron is going to do a little more of that as well. Chiron is known as the wounded healer. It's not a planet, it's an asteroid. And it shows us where our insecurities, our wounds, and our trauma is. Okay. Now, the fact that Chiron is currently in Aries means that we're very proactive about healing ourselves, healing our issues, healing our hangups, right? Now, Mercury currently in Cancer, as it relates to Chiron this week on Friday, right? Mercury is going to be square to Chiron. So this is going to be tension and frustration. Mercury is sort of going to be thinking about how we feel, thinking about the things that we want to nurture. And Chiron is like, but aren't you insecure about that? Or didn't you try to do this last time and it didn't work out? Like Chiron is going to get you to perhaps relive some of the wounds, the traumas that you've experienced before and get you to kind of, this transit is kind of going to make you feel things that you felt before in the past, right? Whatever those wounds, trauma are. But again, it's for good reason. The universe doesn't give you all of this shit for no reason. It's really to get you to heal and be proactive about healing. Now, here's the thing. Mercury, whenever we have Mercury in any sort of aspect to Chiron, it always lends itself to giving your testimony, right? We've all overcome things in our past. And Mercury and Chiron is like, listen, I experienced this in the past. I need to talk about this. Maybe you need to teach it. Maybe you need to speak to people about it. It's a very empathic sort of energy because people can learn from how you've overcome things. People can be inspired by what you've overcome. People can learn how to navigate the murky waters of life, perhaps in the way that you did in the past. However, maybe you're not feeling like you want to give these testimonies. Maybe it's bringing up embarrassment or maybe even feelings of humiliation. This is Mercury in Cancer I'm talking about right now, currently. Mercury in Cancer is going to have you feeling some type of way about speaking. But it also gives you the ability to be relatable on a deeper sort of level. So if you feel called this week to really talk to people about what you've been through, or even be a listening ear to people who need to talk about what they're currently going through, do so. Okay. And we also have the moon in Aries. Moon in Aries is like, you have a goal, you have an end result, and you just want to get there and the shortest route possible. Quickest way from point A to point B is how we feel when the moon is in Aries. And with Aries and with Chiron also being in Aries, it's like being proactive about doing this healing work. Moon has everything to do with our emotions. Mercury is currently in an emotional sign, right? It's in Cancer. So this is about giving your testimony and sort of not getting over. I don't want to say just get over whatever you've been through, but it's more so about being proactive about doing the healing work. And part of that may be giving your testimony. It may be listening. It may be teaching. It may be just talking to people, communing with people, relating to people on these issues. It'll not only be healing for you, but it will be healing for them as well. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so Saturday is pretty much the star day of the week because we have Saturn going retrograde in Pisces. We've got Mercury sextile to Uranus, and we've got Venus sextile to Mars. So you will see at the right-hand portion of the chart, all the way on the right-hand side, you will see Saturn at 19 degrees of Pisces. That is where Saturn will begin its retrograde cycle, right? Then we also have at the top portion of the chart, we've got Mercury at 25 degrees of Cancer. And then you'll also see at the upper right-hand portion of the chart, we've got Uranus at 25 degrees of Taurus. Then we've got Venus at 15 degrees of Cancer, and we've got Mars at 15 degrees of Taurus. All right. So I pretty much talked about Saturn going retrograde in Pisces. It will last until November. It's a time where we are to slow down, we go within, and we get intentional. And we figure out how perhaps are we standing in our own way? Or perhaps what obstacles are standing in our way, and how can we deal with them from the inside out? Remember, everything that we experience in our reality is just a reflection of what is within us, who we think we are, what we believe about ourselves and about the world is what we see in our reality. So perhaps to change some of these obstacles that we may be facing in our lives, right? We got to change them from the inside out. And so Saturn retrograde in Pisces is going to give you ample, and I mean ample opportunity to do that. So lean into that, right? You know, what is the phrase? I believe it's once bitten, twice shy. It's like when you've experienced something in the past, perhaps you've experienced a challenge or a setback in the past. The next time you experience it, you're just like, I don't even want to deal with this. Like it could just be, it when we experience that, we're just like, sometimes you just walk away. And Saturn in Pisces is really good for that. Because think of Pisces, the symbol for Pisces is the two fish, right? When the fish get really overwhelmed or overstimulated, they just swim away. Pisces is a sign of escapism. So Saturn in Pisces, you may, along the road to fulfilling your dream, if you are encountering challenges or obstacles, it's very likely that you will escape. So you will walk away, you will ignore it, you will forget it. For some, you may drown your sorrows in things like alcohol, drugs, and other addictive behaviors, right? So you really have to be cognizant of that. And when Saturn goes retrograde, you get to you get to really understand, why do you walk away? Why do you want to escape? What is it about this obstacle? What is it about this challenge? What is it about this delay that makes me not want to deal with it? Saturn retrograde is going to give you ample opportunity to answer those questions. And it really serves you to do so. Because, like I will always say, Saturn doesn't put you through a hard time for no reason. If you face your fears, if you do the work, Saturn will always give you a reward. And it's typically a big reward, right? So do the work over the next couple of months, regardless of how frustrating, aggravating, sensitive it makes you feel. Just do it. All right. The next up, we've got Mercury sextile Uranus. And in the highlights, I call this live wire. This is a very electric sort of transit. Okay. It really allows you to veer away from your regular routine and do something different. Okay. Uranus is currently in Taurus, and that's all about sort of being shaken out of your comfort zone. Now, with Mercury currently in Cancer, this may be perhaps talking to people or relating to people in a more sensitive, empathic, and more personal sort of way. Right? You may find that under this transit, you are having like random deep conversations with people, or like people are really understanding you, or people are giving you advice that really helps you nurture whatever it is that you are nurturing or wanting to bring about. For some, this just may be people really speaking to you in a nurturing sort of way, and it completely catches you off guard. So this may be from someone that you're not even close to, someone that you don't talk to regularly, but this could just give you the water that you need. It could give you the feel good energy that you didn't know you needed and that you didn't even expect. Right? It's great for flashes of insight as well. And because Mercury is currently in Cancer, pay attention to your dreams. Your dreams, your intuition, your psychic impressions, they may surprise you. It may even be surprising that you're experiencing these things. However, it could really point you in the right direction. So pay attention to how you are feeling and what you are guided to do. But this is really just one of those transits where you have opportunities to experience the magic of the universe. Allow yourself to be surprised. Don't brace yourself for the worst. Not all surprises are bad. So keep yourself open and receptive, and you never know what could happen. But what could happen is probably something positive. All right. So keep an open mind. And then finally, we've got Venus sextile to Mars. And this is a really sort of it's a mundane transit, but it's a really feel good transit because it's great for like romance and socializing. Venus is currently in Cancer, Mars is in Taurus. So it's giving very like receptive feminine energy. It's giving like very nice deep talks. It's giving comfort. Like you can really find comfort in socializing and in dating at this point. All right. And so you're also going to have this level of attraction and magnetism that may magnetize people to you, or you may be magnetized to people that make you feel good, that provide comfort, that provide nurturing, right? Like this is a great transit to start dating someone, to socialize with people, to initiate a new relationship. And you may have ample opportunity to do that. So I will say over the weekend, it will be good to socialize and get out there. Number one, because you've got Mercury sextile Uranus. So you never know who you could bump into, what could happen, but it'll probably be good. And Venus sextile Mars is just great for socializing. So you're going to feel good when you socialize with people. It's great for dating, great for starting something new, great for shooting your shot. It's just great for all of that. All right, let's keep it moving. And then speaking of feeling good and comfortable, we end the week with the moon in Taurus. And you will see Taurus, you'll see the moon in Taurus at the very top hand portion of the chart. All right. So the moon is exalted in Taurus, which just means that the moon is treated like royalty. So the energy is very potent. So it is a very sensitive time. However, whenever the moon is in Taurus, it's when we get to relax and be comfortable. It's Netflix and chill time. It's like your favorite sweats in a great movie, comfort food, retail therapy. All of that stuff thrives when the moon is in Taurus, right? And so we're making our way to the new moon in Cancer, which is going down in early July. And so we're in the waning phase. So, whenever the moon is in Taurus in the waning phase, we're sort of urged to stay within our comfort zone. And anything that doesn't feel good, that isn't in alignment with our pleasure, typically we don't need to make room for it. It's kind of got to go. One of the things that I think we neglect in life, well, some people don't, but a lot of people do, especially if you are just very much concerned with going to work, doing what you got to do, like you're on a very tight schedule or strict routine. You don't make room for pleasure, pleasure of all kinds. Taurus is the sign of pleasure. It is a sign of hedonism. And when the moon is in Taurus, we want to feel good. We want to feel pleasurable. And typically, our pleasure, our passion is usually in alignment with where we are trying to go, what we are trying to do, or the things that we're trying to have. So when the moon is waning in Taurus, it's like if it doesn't feel good, you don't need it. If it doesn't satisfy you, if it doesn't satiate you, then maybe it's not necessary or it's not what you need. So we end the week feeling good, or at least trying to feel good, tapping into our pleasure, tapping into our desires, and letting go of anything that doesn't fall in alignment with that. I love that for a Sunday. It makes for a very lazy Sunday, which I feel like every Sunday should be, right? And that is how we ended the week. And that is the astrology for the week. I told you we don't have that much going on. All right. So now let's get into some messages from Spirit. All right, so you guys know the deal. This is the portion of the broadcast where I pull some cards from messages from Spirit. Now I do it by sign, but whatever message is for you, whether it's your sun, moon, rising, Venus, Jupiter, North Node, doesn't matter. If it's your message, it's your message. And if it doesn't resonate, then it doesn't resonate. Just let it go. All right, let's begin as always at the beginning with Aries. Oof. Let's see what we've got. Jeez, hold on. Cards are flying all over the place. All right. Start off with Aries. Let's see what we got for you for this week. Aries, we've got fences, which is boundaries. All right. So, Aries, you guys are the sign of impulse, impulsivity, instinct. Like you guys feel something you're passionate about and you're like, boom, let's go. Right? Saturn is putting up some fences. Saturn is putting up some boundaries. And you're kind of, I don't want to say you're being tested, but it's almost like the universe wants to see, all right, so how do you do when you're met with obstacles? How do you react? Do you get angry and storm off? Or do you figure out a way to get over this? Like you may feel like you're being tested, but it's not necessarily a test. It's to show you how you deal with things. How do you deal when things don't exactly go your way? Right? Figuring that out, and it's not something that you're going to do this week, although I think that there may be an event this week that really gets you in that mindset. You're going to have ample opportunity to answer that question over the next couple of months. But really think about that. Like, are you kind of like a spoiled brat when things don't go your way? Do you say, well, I'm going to take my ball and go home because, things aren't going my way? Figure that out. That may help eliminate some of these obstacles that keep showing up. Maybe it is your anger that gets in the way. Maybe your anger or maybe your impulsivity is what's creating these obstacles. And there's no shade. I'm just the messenger. Please don't kill the messenger. But that may be what you are learning at this time, okay? Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we have for Taurus for this week. Taurus, we've got feather, and this is messages. So I'm hearing you're on the right track. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of messages, a lot of signs and synchronicities that are going to let you know, or at least confirm to you that you are on the right track. All right. Feathers are also a very good omen. So I feel like this may be a week where you're receiving good omens, where you're starting to see how some of these lessons are really playing out. Or it's almost like things are going to start to click for you like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be learning. It's like things are starting to make sense and you're going to get signs and synchronicities that let you know that what you're thinking or how you're putting things together does make sense. You know how sometimes, especially when you're on your spiritual journey, you're just like, okay, I have this thing in my head, but I don't necessarily know if it makes sense. I don't know if I'm on the right track. Like you can almost be a little more doubtful of your intuition. I feel like this is going to be a week where you get confirmation that your intuition, how you're putting things together, how you're reasoning and rationalizing things makes sense. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Gemini. See what we've got for Gemini for this week. Okay, that's too many. As always, Gemini has a lot going on. Gemini, we have medical staff, and this card is entitled Healing. All right. So you guys are healing. And, the colors that are really prominent on this card are yellow and red. So this is definitely giving root chakra and solar plexus chakra. And with this card being a number 13, which reduces to a 4, there's something about stability that you are healing at this time. So this may be a situation where your money, your career, how confident you feel about your finances, how confident you feel in your career are sort of coming up for review at this time for healing work. All right. Mercury square Chiron really is going to have you doing some introspective work and healing work with respect to your level of confidence or maybe even your insecurities as it relates to money, finances, stability, all of that kind of stuff. All right. Lean into it, do the work. You'll be much better for it. Next up, we've got Cancer. All right. Let's see what we got for Cancer for this week. All right, Cancer, we've got the card Infinity, and it's entitled Unlimited Potential. The sky is the limit. And to all of my June Cancers, to all of the Cancers, period, happy Cancer season, happy solar return. I wish you nothing but the best for your season. And it makes sense that you pulled this card, or this card was pulled for you, because how do we feel when it's our solar return? We feel like the sky's the limit. It's a new year for us. It's your personal new year, right? And so that's how you're feeling. You're feeling like I can do anything, I can achieve anything. You're really dialed into that Pisces energy. And the sun and all of the planets in Cancer are actually trine to Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. So it makes sense that at this time you're feeling optimistic, you're feeling like anything can happen. Hold on to that. Even though you may be getting these doses of reality, even though there may be monkey wrenches being thrown in this grand dream that you're dreaming up right now, stay the course. Keep your eyes on the prize because you truly are unlimited. The sky's not even the limit. There's nothing that you can't be, do, or have. And I feel like this is the energy, or this is perhaps what Saturn is trying to teach you this week and into the coming months. Obstacles don't matter. Circumstances don't matter. Whatever you are dreaming, whatever you are envisioning can and will come to pass. Okay. Next up, we've got Leo. Let's see what we've got for Leo for this week. Leo, we've got water, surrender. And what I'm hearing right now is like, just cry. Just let it all out. Surrender to the emotions. Stop trying to look a certain way. Stop trying to, be prideful and keep up appearances. Cry. If it's an ugly cry, cry. Full of snot and everything, cry. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to succumb to these emotions. Cancer season is an emotional time, I must say. And whatever you're feeling, allow yourself to feel it. There is a lesson in that as well. Maybe you've been keeping your emotions bottled up for too long. Maybe you've even been afraid of what you're feeling, or maybe the intensity of what you're feeling. Allow yourself to feel them. Surrender to the water. It's like stop trying to paddle upstream. Let go and just float. Just let the current carry you wherever it's meant to carry you. You will be safe. You won't be humiliated. You won't feel don't feel like you're going to look like a bitch or a punk or whatever it is. Like cry, release. It's good for you. You need it right now, especially this week. All right. Next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we've got for Virgo. Oops. For this week. Hold on. Usually I don't take the ones that fall on the floor, but I'm being guided to take this one. I don't know what it is. Okay, Virgo, we've got globe possibility. This is a time of expansion for you. This is a 31, which reduces to a 4. All right. So there is this level of expansion when it comes to your stability. So you may be moving, you may be changing physical locations, or it's just that how you stabilize yourself is enlarging, it's expanding, right? You're also being guided to take a broader view of things. You are an earth sign and you tend to be very practical. You tend to see things for what they are, which could be very limiting. I feel like what Saturn is trying to teach you this week is that your view of things is a little too small. This is the view that you should take, right? Rather than thinking about what's around you, think about what the possibility could be. This is such beautiful energy for you because it's very expansive. You are expanding into uncharted territory. And there's some baggage that you need to leave behind. And Saturn is going to show you exactly what that baggage is. So allow yourself to expand. Allow yourself to think much bigger. It is safe for you to dream. That's the message that needed to come out. It's safe for you to dream. Not even just dream, it's safe for you to commit to your dream. That can be scary sometimes, but it's safe for you to do so. It's not going to end up in chaos. It's not going to end up in disappointment and hurt. If anyone, I feel like you guys are probably the ones that are the most afraid of success. Lean into that because there's a lot more to see, a lot more to be, and a lot more to do. Okay. Next up, we've got Libra. Let's see what we've got for Libra for this week. Oops. All right, Libra. You've got fence also, like your sister sign, Aries. And this is all about boundaries, okay? So, Libra, it's almost like perhaps you've been experiencing a certain type of boundary, a certain type of obstacle for a very long time. I saw this video on Instagram the other day, and it was like this bear that was in the wild after having been in captivity for so long. And it didn't realize that it was no longer in captivity. So it relegated itself to this little space. It kept walking around in circles because that's what it used to do when it was in captivity. Now that it's in the wild, it's still acting the same way, even though it's no longer behind a cage. It's no longer tied to anything, right? Some of you feel like, so there have been certain boundaries and obstacles that have been removed from your life, but you are acting as though they are still there. You are limiting yourself when there are no limits to what you can and could be doing right now. So it's time to start acting differently. And this is where Mercury trine Saturn comes in. You know, I said it gives you sort of a realistic but a common sense view of things. Your common sense can tell you, okay, I'm not limited by this anymore. This no longer exists in my life, so I don't have to act like it does. You're going to be able to see perhaps where you've been limiting yourself and where that limit no longer exists, okay? So it's time for you to make some different moves. It's time for you to adopt a different mindset, keeping in mind that these obstacles, these fences are no longer in your way, okay? Next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we've got for Scorpio for this week. All right, Scorpio, you guys got two cards. You've got, first card is joy, and then we've got butterfly metamorphosis. So you have reached the point in your transformation journey where you are experiencing unbridled joy. So you've escaped, or not escaped, but you've left the chrysalis. You've learned how to adapt to this new body because remember, you were a caterpillar before, now you're a butterfly. And now you get to enjoy the benefits of being a butterfly. You get to have a broader view, right? Because the caterpillar was relegated to the ground. The butterfly can fly, see different things, right? You enjoy this new season of life. Some of you may still, almost like the Libra message, where you still may be a little wobbly. You still think that you're in the chrysalis, even though you're not. Like, this is a time to just enjoy this new you. You guys are the kings and queens of transformation. You guys end up dying 1,000 deaths after 1,000 deaths. So transformation is your thing. But sometimes you may be so caught up in transforming that you forget that there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and that you get to enjoy it. And so this week is going to be a reminder of that. Okay. Next up, we've got Sagittarius. Let's see what we have for Sagittarius for this week. All right, Sagittarius, we have Firefly, which is wonder. This is so you. This is like, it's giving like wanderlust, right? Like, this is about indulging in your curiosities. It's about, seeing something and figuring out how it works. Or I wonder what this would be like, and then it manifests. Some of you may be experiencing very quick manifestations this week, especially if it's something that's just like a passing thought. It's not meant to scare you, but it's just meant to show you that you can really have things just that quickly, right? But it's really about shedding light on things that you've wanted to know, experience, do. More so than anything else, this is really just about indulging in your curiosities. So there's also this energy of like this childlike energy, this wanting to just get into things and see how they work, see how they tick. Like sometimes, I don't know about you, but I was a very touchy-feely kid to the point where my mom didn't like taking me out because I would touch everything. Like I'd be at the store pulling on the mannequin's arm. Like I have prominent Taurus energy, so I like to touch things. I'm very sensual in that way. I kind of see that for you guys this week. It's like you kind of just, you know how it says like, don't touch this button. You just want to touch it. Like I feel like that's sort of what's going to happen for you this week. And you're going to see the consequences of doing that. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a bad thing, but if you're not supposed to touch the button and you touch it, you're going to see what happens when you do, right? So indulge in your curiosities and see what happens. It's almost like this is a week of experimentation. See how this thing, like do this thing and then see what comes out. Experiment this week, essentially. Next up, we've got Capricorn. All right, Capricorn, we have moon emotions. So, with the full moon having just been in your sign, with all of this Cancer energy, you guys are probably feeling a lot more emotional than usual. And that may not necessarily sit well with you because you guys are not necessarily an emotional sign. You guys are practical. You guys are like, okay, this is what has to be done. I do it. That's it. However, this is a week where you're going to be feeling a lot more and you're being urged to examine how you feel, sit with how you feel. Your feelings can tell you a lot. They can teach you a lot. So slow down. We're all going to be urged to slow down beginning this week anyway. But for you, Cap, slow down and allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. You can even try to rationalize what you're feeling. Don't try to rationalize it away, but make sense of it. Especially with Mercury trine Saturn, you'll really be able to do that, to sort of compartmentalize and make sense of how you feel. Don't stuff down how you feel. Just allow yourself to feel what you feel and gain the lessons that they're trying to teach you. Next up, we've got Aquarius. Let's see what we have for Aquarius for this week. All right, Aquarius, you guys have feather. You guys have messages also. So allow your intuition to guide you, especially over the weekend with Mercury sextile Uranus. Your intuition is going to be spot on. And there's something that's really going to confirm what you've been thinking and feeling. So keep an open mind and keep your ears and eyes open to this synchronicity or to this message. But either way, your intuition is like, it's going to be like spidey senses this week. Your intuition is going to be very heightened. So pay attention. Confirmation and clarity is assured this week. And last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. So let's see what we've got for Pisces for this week. All right, Pisces, you're doing a little too much. You guys have way too many cards. All right, let's try this again. All right, hold on. All right, Pisces, you got the card entitled Good Luck. And with this being a 10, there are new beginnings afoot for you, and they're very prosperous and they're very fortuitous. Okay. Your ruling planet, or at least one of your ruling planets, is in Gemini. Your ruling planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is currently in Gemini. So this may be a fortuitous new idea. This may be a great conversation. This may be learning something from someone. Either way, there's something new happening this week that's really good and that's really fortunate. And it may be a surprise. So you may be guided to talk to someone you've never talked to before, or you know how sometimes you're just out and about and some random stranger will start talking to you. Listen to what they have to say. It may be very good advice. You may overhear something that's very beneficial to you. So keep your eyes and your ears open this week. There is much good fortune to be gained. All right, my loves. So that concludes this edition of the weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this week. So for information on my products and services, everything is in the description box below and or linked to the video. All right, my loves. I wish you nothing but the absolute best for this upcoming week, and I will see you in my next broadcast. All right, my loves. Take care.